Yeah, she's up there. She's look.
There's nobody else is coming in out there.
Wee, Jenny is in here now. The door is open, so if anyone does come in, they can still come in, alright? And in the effort of trying to create an atmosphere, we have decided we might turn off this light here. Is everyone okay and comfortable in their seats? Yes. And we'll see if it all goes. Ooh, that's the kind of atmosphere I wanted, alright? I'm just going to double check and make sure I've got that record button done on my camera. And yes, I do.
Can you take photographs?
You can take whatever you like.
Thank you.
Leave the furniture if that's okay. So you might have a seat there for a second.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, and we shall give the turnpikes a little bit of a turn down there. So, straight off the bat, thank you every single one of you who has come here today. You have actually restored our faith in humanity. So, thank you very much. Lovely. So yeah, thank you all so very much for coming out tonight on a miserable night, Halloween, so on behalf of Sinead, myself, Jenny, and everybody in the hall, thank you so much for coming. The reason why you're here, guys, is about how long ago is it that I met you? Do you think?
I'd say it's about July.
Yeah, a good few months ago, right?
Yeah,
about 4 months ago. And here's the bit that you won't have heard before. Me and Jenny were working one day, and we had just got an email in from, I think it was a workshop. Somebody was looking to book a workshop in the hall, and the title of the workshop was, not the title, but it was about giving a voice to the voiceless, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or listening to the neighbourhood, listening to your neighbourhood. And that had come in, and me and Jenny had talked about putting it in the hall, so that was in my head kind of all day, and I was sitting outside having a cigarette, and Sinead came by on the bike on the other side of the road. And I'd seen her before, and so I waved at her, and she waved back as Sinead always does. And so then she started talking, and I started talking, and there was chairs outside. So I said, come on over and have a sit down. So she came over and she sat down, and we started chatting away, and we had lots of things in common. We talked the same way about a lot of things. And then she told me that she writes poetry. And I write a little bit of poetry in my spare time too, so I was interested. And I said, that's fascinating. You wouldn't bring in one of your poems to me maybe another day. And then, like that, she just recited one of them. The whole thing, just in front of me in the chair there. And I was kind of, oh. And it was a very similar pattern, very similar sense of humour. They were funny and they were charming. And I was kind of blown away by it. So we had arranged then that she was going to come in twice a week, and we were going to go through some of her poems. And every time she came in, she'd have a stack of poems. I don't know, you probably have more than William Butler Yeats. But she'd have a stack of poems, and he was always so eager to read them to me. And so she would read one, and then she would read another, and then I'd have to stop her, and I'd say, I think that's kind of enough for me to take in right now, because I'm only hearing them. And with Sinead's poems, when you take them home and you read them, and you read them, and you read them over and over again, and there will be, she has this way of simplifying ideas and thoughts, and there will be a sentence in every poem that if you read it over and over again, you can say to yourself, wow, she really has something there, And so every time I get a poem, I'd always find a sentence in it that I felt like that about. And so then we decided that we were going to put the collection together, and I don't even think we even thought about launch, did we? We just thought about getting a book.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we just thought about getting a book, and then sure, once you have your foot in the door and you have a book, it seems kind of silly not to launch it. So that's where we are, that's where you guys are here. And so I am honoured to say that our books, Sinead's books, are on sale here, right? They're €10 each. And if anyone wants to get them signed, I'm pretty sure the author will be amenable to that. Maybe bribery might need to happen. She does like chocolate. If that helps, that might be a little bit of help. And so Sinead has said that she would be willing to read 3 of her poems out for us here tonight. So guys, can we get a huge warm round of applause for our poet for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Sinead Keane.
I've been passing here quite a bit, and then I met this young man, Steve. It was a beautiful sunny day, and we sat down for a chat. And I recited one of my poems off by heart. He was very impressed. We then arranged to meet up twice a week so that I could recite some of my other poems to him. And after a few weeks, we decided to make a poetry book of them. I had been wondering for a long time where to go to get my poetry published. I was going from Jack to Little to Harry, and they were leading me all over. As well, I used to think it was too personal, but people reassured me that it wasn't, and that people could identify with it. So that made me think, because I'm keen to help other people. So if my poetry could reach people through the lines I have written, that would enrich me. So now I'm going to recite one of my poems. It's called The Girl of Ambition. I know a girl with glamour and charm, longing to know and with nowhere to go. She hears people talking and disregards walking. She knows that what is wrong, but she's not very strong. She needs some attention, if only to mention. She's never the kind to have you in mind. She'll trip and she'll stumble, but never will grumble. There's often a day when she's far away, and without realizing, her whole life's reviving. She's a girl of ambition without recognition. She'll take in what's around, but never a sound. Sometimes at night, to her delight, she'll work out your wages, or maybe your ages. She's dreamt every dream that ever was seen, falling down mountains, or sitting in fountains, or running through fields when all is revealed. She'll never repeat something so neat, a girl of ambition with good intuition. She tries to be kind, she's faced fear with blind. The girl I speak of is me, a girl, now a woman I see. A girl with my dignity, a woman who knows, a woman with something in me. A girl who knows she's not perfect, but you know, some things really aren't worth it. A girl who knows, as far as it goes, but wants recognition for all her ambition. Woo!
I'm sure people might be interested to know if you had any memories of how you were inspired to write that poem.
Oh yeah, I have. A Girl of Ambition is about being ambitious in a very intellectual world. So much so that love is drowned out and knowing things is all that matters. I think that intelligence is a better word, because it explains it better and it means a whole lot of different things. So the next poem I'm going to read for you is called An Unknown Land. Try to realize my sin and shame, but all the more increase the pain. I looked up, there was no light, and in the middle I tried to fight. The days turned dark, my skies turned grey, and all the more I turned away. In an unknown land where darkness reigns, excuse me, I reached for you, but tears just came. Yet to know my Saviour died, so I could then be justified. To know the pain and grief he bore, but as I reached, my tears were more. To know that once my Saviour died, and on the cross was crucified, I look to those I love and respect, and as I look, my heart is set. on words and thoughts that come from man, and so, excuse me, I sink in who I am.
Woo! And so, again, Sinead, do you have any memories of how you were inspired to write that poem?
Yeah, well, I wrote this poem at a very hard time of my life. I was in the midst of, I have to say, reactive depression. I was reaching for something that was just so out of reach, for a light that once shone and had flickered away, even in the strangest of hearts, but yet would glow again in the light of God's love. Now the third poem I'm going to read for you is called Something to Live For. Something to live for is something to give for, some place to go for, and someone to know for. Some place to meet and someone to greet. Something to give you change for and also to exchange for. Something to rely on is something to get by on. Something to do for or something I owe you for. Something to rest for or maybe to test for. Something to understand or maybe just to lend a hand. Something to pray for is something I say for. Somewhere to walk to or someone to talk to. Something to ride on, or just to confide in, or just someone to be with, or maybe have tea with.
That one is one of my favourites, and it's quite positive. So do you have memories of writing that one?
Yeah, I do. The first thing that came into my mind was my mother. She'd look at me and say to me, when I got something new, she'd say, "How much? Where'd you get?" And after a while it was, "Every time I look at you, you've got something different." Something to live for is about giving and receiving in all walks of life. It's about building up a rapport with someone behind the counter, as a lot of people would think paying back loans is pain. I don't look at it that way. I think through any walk of life, it's collaborating, meeting people and making plans.
That is a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do I do now?
But sorry, can I just say something?
Absolutely,
Just
yeah.
what you're talking about, meeting people in shops and things like that. A lady in a shop there some weeks back paid my shopping because my phone was out of charge, and it was like 10 to 10 at night. My kids had a school tour the next day, and it was paying for it, and then I went, oh no. So I was like, oh, kids' school tour. So I headed out the door, and Patience was her name. She sent one of the floor workers running after me, and she said Patience has paid for shopping. So she paid €60 for a shop. Obviously I paid her back. So the next day I went in and I just found the manager and said thank you, you know. And when I bumped into Patience again, she said, oh, thank you so much for acknowledging it, and it made me so happy to see I could help someone, and I've done it 3 times since. So she seems to be going around paying for people's shopping, you know. But it's like little.
Could we ask where is the shop?
Yeah, Tesco in Middleton. Oh, but it's little things like that. It's acknowledging the kind of daily interactions that's kind of going, isn't it? Like it's something that's dying sometimes a bit.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
From the heart, you know.
Okay, I'd like to thank people for coming tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank Steve Nolan for doing such a fantastic job with my poetry. I was going all over the place trying to get someone, and that day he said he'd do it, he'd print them out. He did a very, very good job, thanks a million.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'd like to thank Jenny for giving us the hall here tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, Sinead. It's been a pleasure. The whole journey has been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to thank Ger Cody for arranging that interview on the radio for me. Thanks very much, Ger. My first time being
What a great job you did too. What a great job on the radio you did.
I wasn't prepared for all of those questions.
Need to be short of an answer.
I'd like to thank my family too for being there for, and my sister Bree, who was always there for me.
That's what it is.
Is that it? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
can't think of anyone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, can we have one more last big, huge round of applause for Sinead Keane? So, guys, before we all wrap up, I thought I would read out one of my favourite ones first, just before we go.
And there's tea and coffee there. People want to
I
sit
know.
and have a cup of tea or coffee.
They're itching to go. Well,
if they're itching
yeah,
to go,
you can,
people
but
would
you
like
can
to
mingle
sit down.
around here, guys, and have a chat with us. But I really
Yeah, you
would like to
can.
read this last one
Yeah.
because it is my favourite of them, and it's called My Treasure. And I didn't tell her I was reading this until this morning or today, right? And you were nervous about it. What is he going to read?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering, all right.
So this one is called My Treasure. There's one thing I treasure most, and to this I make a toast. To my sensitivity. In the darkest times we see, heart of heart, we just tag along, wondering where the feeling's gone. They hurt so great to such a measure, but they find they get no pleasure. Hiding every thought and fear leaves behind a place so dear. A place where childlike security can become a part of me. Hard for those with no direction, like a child with no protection, reaching for a hand to hold in the middle of their goal. Great is life where love is free. Hear, hear. Childlikeness and security. My treasure, this will always be something pure and precious to me. So ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for coming out. We really, really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your evening. We should turn the lights on. You're more than welcome to mingle and socialise with us. And like we said, books are available, and there's a pen there. So anyone who doesn't have a book, or even has one, you can get an autograph today, you know.